Hey, Myean, what's up? What's happening, man?
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. George? How you doing? How everything?
Yeah, it's cool, man. We missed the happiness today. I was at my daughter's graduation today, so I missed a lot. But I was monitoring stuff. Uh, at least I got I got three out of high school now. My son is in college. My daughter is my oldest daughter is in college, and now this one is about to go to college. I got two more, and I'll be all set.
Wow,
To,
that's
to,
great. That's great. That's great. Like
and in line.
tomorrow, tomorrow we'll be finishing our watch for Liberia here. We'll be
Okay.
finishing watch tomorrow. Yeah. So right now we have some students who are also here with me. They are finishing tomorrow also. We are in the one place because even the Ministry of Education and white box that no students should camp or no school should camp. So because of that, we are just together, few person together here.
Also, you guys not camping?
No school is allowed to camp. So few persons just gather together. Like for my school, I have few persons who are here with me at my home where we are doing things together. So we are outside today because tomorrow will be the final. So we are sharing fun, doing some things out.
Oh, so Maya, wait. Uh, what year you were born?
I was born 2006, December
Wow.
22nd.
When I took my national exam, you were not even around, man. I took national
Yeah.
exam 1988. You were not even
Wow.
wow. Yeah, you're not
That
even
time
around.
I was not even around.
Yeah.
Times the age.
I took national
Yeah.
exam, man. And back in the day, people used to camp. I used to go to camp, but people there for the fun of it, but it wasn't a serious thing. But people used to camp. But now you guys taking it. It's different nowadays, right? You guys taking it weekly. You put this tell me, man. You guys taking it weekly, right?
Yeah. Like I said, we are in the camp, so other people are making noise in the
I
back.
know, I know. So, but I forget about that. Then forget about that. I understand. But so you guys taking it
Uh,
because I think
yeah.
the third week,
So
right?
the main reason, let me give the main reason why the ministry said no students should camp,
Okay.
because nowadays the young people they make use of all of the opportunity. That's why, because if the school allow you to camp, some of them will go to their parents, take huge amount of money. Some of them will use that opportunity to go and do other things outside of the camping, and because of that, some parents can bring complaint back on the campus to say my daughter or my son was not like this. After all, it was he changed or she changed. So because of that, that's why the Ministry of Education put stop to it. And also on something we call flexibility fees, the ministry also put stop to it, and whiteboard put stop to it, where school can request students to pay flexibility fees during was time where they are going to help them in the process. Some other schools are paying $30 a year for each student. Just imagine where you
Wow.
have maybe 100 students, just calculate 30 times 100, or you have like 50 students or 150 students. That amount you are collecting for students. So based on that, wire boss that bottle said no school should collect flexibility fees from students, or rather offering in a hall. Like usually when the test about to start, you collect offering for the plotter or for the examiner or the supervisor to help you in the process. So because of that, they have put stop to everything. So students nowadays do things on their own, maybe except for any reason, maybe your school might likely penetrate in to bring something to you, but it's very, very difficult for us at our institution.
Oh, so uh, uh so that means that. But I see you. There's your third week taking the exam, right? How you guys doing it nowadays? Because
We
back in the day, we took it only for one day. We go take.
uh, okay, so for the test, we started on the 15th of last month, where for the total test we supposed to read is 11. So because of that, when we read one test on Monday, then we cannot read test another week again. Then we read two, and then we wait again for the following week, just like that. So like we started from the beginning, we wrote 3 for that week, and we wait for the another week, we wrote 2, just like that, and we kept moving. So for last week, we wrote 2 tests. We wrote math and economic, and this week we are in, which is tomorrow, we'll be finishing the exam where we'll be writing history paper 1 and paper 2.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyway, look, Chairman Ben got some news for the people of Liberia. He'll be coming on soon to give some news. Chairman Ben Sanvee got some breaking news, he said. So he coming on to give some news later on. Wait for Chairman Sanvee. He will be on to give some breaking news. Uh, Chairman Ben Sanvee will be coming on soon to give some breaking news.
So before the chairman comes on, maybe I can drill the followers through from Friday, the incident that happened at the Liberia National Police, the capital, that's the Temple of Justice, and that's the Moravia Central Prison. I know whether I can drill
Yeah, let
our
me let me let
followers.
me yeah, let me hear what's happening. What happening? What happened? Because what I do know is that on Friday, last Friday, in fact, prior to Friday, um, they invited the former speaker and the 3 other lawmakers to the police station, and then they went there on Friday, and deceptively, the director of police, the IG, who I'm very surprised at, knew what he was doing, kept the guys there until late in the evening, and formally arrested them. In fact, I mean, there's no way to cut it. It just, and I'm surprised at the Attorney General, what his name again, Oswald Twe.
You know, also
I'm
12.
surprised that he's a respected lawyer. That man, he got his training from the late Councilor Bromsky. Okay, and then number two, the IG2. I know he always talks about he went to Harvard and so forth. But again, again also, but to my surprise, he decided to play all the kind of games. And history will not forgive them. What he did over the weekend, the last 72 hours, was wrong. See, the chairman had to come, leave his bed. The chairman was, the
The
chairman
chairman
was
on tonight.
The chairman was he flew to 3 states today. He was in Florida early this morning, Washington D.C., and he back to Charlotte. And he had to come tonight to come and give some news to the Liberian people. The chairman, and he will give some news. People will be yelling.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
No, but chairman. On a serious note, though, I mean, you guys, you know the players. What they did over the weekend just was not fair. Was not fair. Okay, was not fair at all. You know that. To invite these guys and then keep them until late in the evening, then you formally arrest them, and then send them to the slide of the police station on Friday night. Saturday morning, the judge told them, say, you can't bail you out, and then they took them to jail. I don't know what they wanted to prove to show that they
So,
got. Go ahead, Myean.
yeah, so the what you were saying about them being delayed, the former speaker, he noticed that from the beginning, where they shouldn't exact time that the process will start. So when the former speaker arrived, the RG was the first to arrive. As soon as he arrived, right away we saw the former speaker and others. As soon as they enter, he went in and we asked him, "Well, what's the exactly you are here for?" He said he was invited by the Liberia National Police for question and answer. So when he entered the house, like 15 to 20 minutes passed, he was just sitting waiting, and the process did not start on time. So he looked at it for long and he said, "Why is it that we cannot start the process?" So after then, no one could respond to him. It was how he walked out, called on his supporter to leave the place. So while leaving, we saw a strange thing where we saw a security protocol were all intact. They denied the former speaker from leaving the Liberia National Police headquarters. And when a vehicle tried passing, we saw 2 police vehicles passing in front and behind. No way for the former speaker to move. So his legal counsel, Councilor Generator Massacre, when he entered the vehicle winches were down. So we're getting what they were saying. So he was asking, why is it that they are stopping us from coming out? So the legal counsel said, but we don't know. It's just like we are going out and they are putting stop to us. So former speaker got down from the vehicle. When you are leaving, it was how he started to explain to a legal counsel that, oh, this is what happened in there. And because of that, I cannot sit and be waiting for them. we had some top brass from the Liberia National Police. They came in and started appealing to him that, oh, you need to go back. The process you came for is not yet done, so you need to go back. Say, well, they appealed to him. When he went back, it was late in the evening, we started getting reports from an inner source within the investigation arena that the former speaker and others will be sent to court, and then they'll be sent to jail. So we're doubting it, but later we got to know that the story was truth. And from that, we heard information during Thursday session and at the Capitol building, where one of the lawmakers was spotted saying that those guys are going to be sent to the Moreover Central Prison when they go at the Liberia National Police headquarters on tomorrow. So we heard it from them, but we were doubting it. To be real, we were doubting it, and we thought it was just going to be like or normal saying from lawmakers to their federal police.
Wow. So this thing was premeditated. It was just something
Yes,
organized. So all what Gregory Kuma was saying on Friday evening, he was just, I don't know how to call it, but he had this thing all planned with it. I showed the justice minister planned it. This is what I'm going to do and executed the plan. And but one thing I mean, we are student of history. What's happening? Today you in power. Don't forget, you're not in power for long. You're in power forever. Tomorrow you'll be out of power, and then you're gonna it's history gonna repeat. You know, you gotta be very careful what you do today because posterity is around. You know, and I mean, I was just surprised at him because I thought he knew. I thought he was better than that, and to see him to how to call it I don't I'm sure he wasn't fooling Councillor Kofa. Kofa is a smart lawyer. He knew his plan already. Once he started to stop him from going, he knew that their plan was to keep them there and detain them. And because first of all, they're not flight risk. These people are honorable lawmakers. They get property in Liberia. They get families there. They're not going to leave the country and run away. You tell them say, well, you invited people to come to your station. Tell them say, I won't see you on Monday. But their plan was just to humiliate them, jail them to prove a point. I have to say they got this thing going, but I don't think it was fair. But this government is now it's in the history books. They will be known for a government that put the lawmakers or sitting lawmakers in jail for more than 3 nights, and regardless of what happened, the law says you are proven innocent until you are proven guilty in a court of competent jurisdiction. So, but to you charging them with all this stuff and what happened, it's just not fair to the people. You know, just not fair. But again, Chairman, you've been following the proceedings since Friday, and I know you got some things to share with us tonight. Go ahead, Chairman.
Well, it's good to see you guys, and thank you for dragging me. Um, you know, but yeah, no. Listen, I see. I have a different take on it. Interestingly, I think this is an opportunity. I think look, at the end of the day, I do believe they have no evidence. That's the first thing. I don't think, from what I'm hearing, from the foundational evidence that I'm hearing that they have, that they've made this indictment and this thing. I can't wait to see the trial. I hope one of the things the defense will ask for is a public trial. I hope they will ask for a trial that is broadcast, because if you remember during the Cummings trial,
Yeah.
the defense said that they didn't want a public trial, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I hope and pray that this defense, the Kofa defense and the other guys' defense, will allow this to be a public and a televised trial. Let the media go in there. Let's see, because I want to see I want to see them win this case with the evidence that they have. I want to see those evidence holding up in court. I listened to the IG, who, by the way, Greg and I have a long-standing relationship. I have a great amount of respect for him. But I thought, there's certain times, people miss certain things, and I thought this was a miss on his part, because part of law enforcement is also reviewing evidence and making a conclusion that this is not that you don't want to prosecute the crime. It's saying, it's you saying what I have, can this stand the test in the courtroom. And clearly, I believe politics is in play here. I think this is bigger than probably a lot of people are thinking. I think there's a lot that has been put into this thing about who Kofa is and his his rise that started when he became speaker. There was a lot even from within his party. So what I'm saying is I'm excited because I think we get a chance now, and they will have to speed this thing up, right? There have to be a very speedy trial. Let's see the evidence. And one of the things that I like what Councilor Kofa said today was that we will deconstruct that evidence piece by piece. We'll deconstruct, because I think tomorrow the evidence will be made available to the defense side. They got to start doing their work. There's a lot of things you can say about Kofa, but being a great lawyer is something that everybody knows him for, and he has won a lot of cases. He's more of a corporate lawyer, but I think he's very smart. He understands. He knows the kind of team he's going to put together. So in actuality, I think this is a good thing, because at the end of the day, he gets a chance to clear his name. You remember the same thing happened with the Cummings case.
Yeah.
When everybody was up in arms about it, Cummings went there, took it on the chin, and went through the process. And in the end, he was vindicated, even though he had to bring foreign experts into the process. But in the end, the government made a determination that the evidence was not, the evidence couldn't hold up. I see something similar like this happening in this case, because take into consideration, I heard Gregory say, when they asked him about Kofa, he gave evidence on different other people. This other one did this. The other person, they link it to this. But then he talked about Edrich, the kid that's in prison, and said Edrich continuously and kept on referring to, I got my instruction from the top. I got my instruction from the top. But something we also should take into consideration, Edrich has accused them of torturing him.
Yes.
They've been accused. Right, the state has been accused of torturing these defendants to extract evidence or information, and anything. And one of the things one of the first things, I'm not a lawyer, but I know one of the first things that the defense is going to try to do is to challenge the evidence that will be presented. That if this evidence was if this evidence was pulled as a result of torture, then it's not admissible in court, right? But with that being said, I'm looking forward to the case. I think I got a chance to speak with Representative Kofa earlier this evening. He's in high spirits. He's in good spirits. He believes he's going to beat this thing, or they're going to beat this thing. He doesn't think this is, this is something that's going to hold water. So we look forward to that. And like I said, I pray that this is a public trial. I pray the Liberian people get a chance to see it. I pray videos and cameras are allowed in that courtroom, because we don't want people coming out explaining their own, because remember one of the challenge we have with the Cummings case, right? People will come out, reporters will come out, then we try to explain, what was doing. But when you have cameras in there, when there's a public trial, people get a chance to see it on Facebook, see it on TV. This is a landmark case. I think it will set a good precedent and let the people see the evidence, and because there's two jury that we're going to be looking at. There's going to be a public jury. And then there's also going to be, the court of public opinion. And then there's also going to be the legal court at the Monrovia, at the temple.
So this case, it will be decided by jury, right?
It should be a jury trial, I believe, because, the defendants get the chance to, you can pick, you can decide if you want a jury trial or a non-jury trial. I think there's something, but I don't know what the intricacies are, but whatever it is, the evidence will have to stack up. And I understand that they were even having problems. One of the reasons why it took so long for them to do the indictment on Friday was because the judge had issues with the evidence. The judge had issues with some of the evidence to say, but why are we indicting them? Is it based on what you are presenting to me? Right? All of these different news have been coming out, right? So we're gonna wait and see what it entails. We're gonna wait and see the but I'm looking forward to the theater. I'm looking forward to the theater. I'm looking forward to, to them implicating the audio tape that we heard.
Yes.
Some people are saying that is AI generated. I've been told that experts have been invited to to listen. Listen, let me tell you something. I hope the government is ready for this, because Kofa is not going to roll over. No. He's not going to roll over. You saw Cummings. Cummings did the same thing. Cummings brought in international investigators, international experts that looked at the evidence that was presented to him, said that that he finger document, and they came back. And I'm hearing that Kofa is also going to be bringing in international investigators.
But you think if they try to handle this how they did the Cummings case, after they realized that they had nothing against Mr. Cummings, and the government, they just came and said, well, they throwing the case off and just like that. You think Kofa will allow those to happen to them?
Well, if they come out and say they're just throwing it out, if they come out and say, you know what, the evidence doesn't hold up, so we want to withdraw it, Kofa ain't got nothing else to do but to accept it, right? Because at the end of the day, it shows that the government was not able to prove a case against them. But I don't know what he will do after, right? I don't know if it's going to be, defamation, or if he's going to try to take it to the next level. I don't know, but I do know one thing, that, the evidence that they're going to be providing will have to be scrutinized. I'm hearing from folks around the defense that they are going to be bringing in international experts to look at the evidence, and you got to understand that if you doctor the document, if you doctored or recording, international experts know how to see that a recording was doctored, right? They can say, listen, if that recording is AI, there's technology. That's the beauty of the world we live in today. So when you are indicting someone and you're about to damage their entire life, right? Because now Kofa has a knee extra Republican on him. He can't travel, right? That's going to impact his earnings, his income. He's an international corporate lawyer, in addition to him being a representative, right? So I'm sure he's not going to take this light. He's not going to be taking this light. He's going to do what he needs to do to be able to clear his name, and so with the other folks, so with the other members, and even the guys who have been who have been accused from their offices. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing this thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing the government try to prove this case, because like I said, everything that I see, I don't know how they win this case. I don't know.
But you think with the government, with this case will be speeded, or the government going to play this delay tactics to delay this case? Like, for instance, I think since the Twer case, since last year been on, it's been dragging, and then with this case now, then the government going to delay this case, be playing all kind of delay tactics to just keep their case going.
So I think it's all left with the judge. I think it's left with the judge. The judge is going to be whoever the judge is in this process is going to be pivotal in making the determination. My guess is that they will want to get this thing over with sooner than later, because I think the longer it drags, it puts it brings a lot of things into perspective, and you never know, again, like I say, what may come out of it. So if I was the government, I would want to get it over with, right? I don't see the reason why it's in their interest to try to drag it on. But you never know what it may be. But then there's also going to be the defense strategy also to put things in place. Yeah.
Over the weekend, a visiting lawmaker from the government, from the ruling establishment, he was in Pennsylvania, and he said that the government had the evidence, they got all the phone records of all these guys, their phone records from the phone company, but my question was, getting phone records is one thing, but I mean, what the transcript says, what it's saying,
and you're right with that, because what the transcripts say, and who plans an arson on the phone?
Exactly.
I mean, just think about it. Like, I mean, who plans to burn down? Not forget. This is the Capitol building. Who plans to burn down the Capitol building? Who plans a strategy to burn down the Capitol building on a telephone call? I don't know. I don't know who would do it. Anybody who does it, I mean, if they did it, then definitely they deserve to go to jail, right? But I'm waiting to see what it is. I'm waiting to see. We've been waiting to hear what it is. I hope they have the recordings. Again, like I said, hopefully this is going to be a public trial. People are going to be able to listen to it. We're going to have TV cameras. I think the defense should push for that. The defense should not. And I think that was the mistake Cummings made in his trial, when his defense team decided that they didn't want to make it public. But I think this defense should push for a public trial. Let cameras come into the room. Let it be televised. Let platforms stream it live. It's going to be during the morning hours in Monrovia anyway, so it's going to be well within time before all the talk shows can come on, right? By the time the talk shows start coming on here, the court is going to be closed, right? So you have enough material to be able to, to, like I said, try it also in the court of public opinion. But I am waiting to see what they have, because I do hear, yes, like you rightly said, I hear they say they got phone records, they subpoena this, they subpoena that, and they're doing all of that. But I'm waiting to see what they have, because I definitely know that there's going to be a crack defense team that's going to be defending these guys, and it's not going to be a kicking. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the prosecution. I can assure them.
Yeah, I really want to see the evidence the government will produce, because the way I listened to the IG, listen to charges and all these stuff you are saying, and he said they have. Then when you talk to people, well, the IG won't just say all these things when you don't have enough evidence to prosecute, send this case to court. But like you said, wait to see what's going to happen. But I didn't monitor it today. But Myean, maybe you guys can help us. So when's the next court appearance?
Well, I don't think they announced it yet.
No, they announced and then did, but from the bond, they said they were going to come up with a specific date where they would do the arguing at the court before they can do anything.
I've been told that they will provide. I think that the briefs will be made available tomorrow to both sides or to the defense, because the prosecution is the one that has the case. So I think from what I've been told is that the evidence will be presented over tomorrow for the preparation. The defense needs the evidence to start preparing their defense. So hopefully tomorrow. Somebody said preliminary hearing tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So I'm sure that's where all those things are going to come, right? You're going to see a possibility where they're going to turn over the evidence now to the defense, for the defense to start to prepare her defense. And the other thing that's going to happen, Tomalin and George, there's going to be a lot of subpoenas. I can tell you there's going to be a lot of subpoenas. I know the defense strategy. And again, I'm not trying to, I think this is common knowledge. It's not even giving out strategies here. But I see the defense subpoenaing all the police officers who were assigned at the Capitol building on the night of that thing. I see them, and they will have to come. They will have to come and testify on the oath.
And you just brought something, Ben, and the question somebody was asking, the person said, prior to the incident, they took the seats from the Capitol building to the city hall, wherever they were meeting.
Yeah.
So why did they take it? They took the seats there and to go and have session there. So whether it was something that they already knew what was going to happen, we don't know. And the compound was in the hands of the police. So is Gregory Cohen telling me that the police, but somebody said, by the way, people were hiding in the building. So that's why the police. So tell me now, you police.
But that's what I'm saying, Tommy. What I'm saying is, I expect the defense to subpoena the police director. I expect them to subpoena those police officers who the police director will identify that was on duty on the night. Let's not forget there was heavy police presence at the Capitol grounds when that thing happened, because it was at the height of the crisis. It was at the height of the impasse when the fire broke up. So there was already heavy police presence. Remember that a smaller fire had happened with the breakout. You remember before there was something with the breaker, and everybody were carrying the news, and then they said, "Oh, it was the breaker that." So you remember when we saw the fire, everybody was like, "Could this be electrical? Could they have been?" So there's going to be a lot of subpoenas that's going to be sent out from the defense in this, because they will have to push those witnesses. They're going to push them to come and explain. Were all the security people sleeping? Is that what happened? All the police people who were assigned the Capitol building were sleeping that night? Because when you look at the depth and the extent of which that fire, the extent of that fire, it's not something that it was not a petrol bomb, right? No. It was not something that somebody took and just threw a petrol bomb into the rotunda or into the joint chambers. No, it looked like it was a well-planned, executed arson attack. I think that part we identify. Everybody agreed that this thing was arson. The question is who did it, right?
Yes.
Who did it? And it also must have been someone who was very experienced, because it was effective. If you look at the way the building burned, right? It It was effective. It was targeted. It was targeted, and this was not a sloppy. This was not a sloppy job. This was something that was planned. It was targeted because only the joint chambers got burned.
Yes.
Only the joint chambers got burned, right? Nowhere else, I think maybe just the adjacent, there was maybe some other structural issues. So that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting to see those subpoenas go out, waiting to hear what are the police officers going to say? Were they all sleeping? How were they supposed to be protecting a national a shrine to say something, and someone walk into a national shrine and put in place explosives or whatever they put in place to burn down such an important landmark as the Capitol building, right? So anybody can walk into the executive mansion and put fire on the executive mansion, or the Capitol, or the Temple of Justice. So those are all the kind. That's why I say I'm really looking forward to this trial. I'm really, really looking forward to this trial, and I hope that it's public. I hope people, there'll be cameras in there, because I want to hear these answers, because there have to be. These are common sense. The law. They say that the reason, the fulcrum and the foundation of the law is reasoning, right? Yeah. Is reasoning. Charles Bronski used to say that a lot. The fulcrum and foundation of the law is reasoning and common sense. So, mind you, if the defense goes for a jury trial or they go for maybe a judge decision, all of those things are going to be put in place. Let's also not forget the code of public opinion. Because I can tell you a majority of the Liberian people don't believe Fonati Kofa didn't burn that building. I can tell you that. A majority of the Liberian people don't believe. Because I have tried to think about it, Tomalin. What is the benefit of them burning the building? I'm trying to understand why would they want to burn the building down? Burning the building down doesn't make him speak up. The building doesn't determine, and the men were having session in City Hall.
Yeah.
The building burned down. So it must have been something that was targeted to make it look like they did it, because they were in the joint chambers. They had access to the joint chambers, right? So I'm looking forward to it. We're not going to pre-litigate it. We're not going to run a pre-trial here. But I'm looking forward to what the evidence they're going to be presenting, and we're going to see.
Who's the Solicitor General of Liberia right now?
I don't even know who's that. I'm trying to think.
He will be leading the prosecution.
Yeah,
team,
he's probably going to be leading the defense. There's somebody in the crowd in the comment section. If you guys know who the current Liberia Solicitor General is, if you guys can send us the name. I don't know. I haven't really remember who. But the key, like I said, it's going to be a fascinating. It's going to be a fascinating trial. I'm looking forward to it. And I definitely know Fonati they're going to put together a crack team.
Oh yeah, I'm believing.
I envisage somebody who I may think maybe be on that defense team will be the guy that represented Cummings. What's his name? Silla. Silla is very sharp.
Cummings lawyer, right?
Yeah, from Heritage.
That guy is smart.
That's what, so tell me, you understand where I'm coming from with this, right?
Yes.
When I talk about, you even just look at the Cummings case.
Yeah.
That's what happened in the Cummings case. The Cummings case got to the point where even Stevie Wonder, as blind as he is, could see.
But Ben, we knew that at that time we were on Spoon. I knew Cummings. Yeah. I kept saying it was a bogus trial.
Anthony Kessel. No, not Anthony Kessel. No,
it was a bogus case. That case was just bogus. It was just, I knew from the get-go. Because, come on now. Well, Cummings, why would a man go figure out document to do what?
So that's what I'm saying. But in all of that, several things happen. International investigators hire forensic experts. And if anybody, and I knowing Fonati Kofa and them, they will bring international forensic experts to examine that evidence.
You got a serious charges upon these people.
And I hope the government of Liberia, I hope those tapes and those recordings are not doctored. I hope they're not AI generated, or I hope they're not something that they patch together. Because, listen, two-year IT student can decipher those things before I talk about international forensic expert. So, and when those things are deconstructed and presented, they will be made public. they will be made public. That hey, the documentation or the what is it mean? The tapes, the recordings are doctored. You know, the thing about criminal trials is it's about credibility. It's about the credibility of your witnesses. If your witness is caught in one lie, that witness is damaged. You know, I don't know if people following the P. Diddy trial here in America, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happening, right? It's about the credibility of the witness. If you pick a witness, you better be damn well sure that witness is on their game.
You witnessed the trial of the late Kobe Bryant. His lawyer, that lady thread, she dismantled the witness against Kobe.
Yeah.
I mean, how come Kobe what to get out of that case? I mean, like you said, the witness was threaded, man, and as a result,
and that's the other thing. They will have to present the witness list. They will have to present the witness list to the defense. The defense will have to prepare how to cross-examine those witnesses. Will those witnesses be able to withstand cross-examination? Then you're going to have those that the defense will subpoena, right? Kofa himself, more than likely, will take the stand. He's a lawyer. He knows his stuff, right? He himself, more than likely, will take the stand. Dixon Sibo, all of them, more than likely, they will end up taking the stand. Then before we talk about, imagine if, because there's already the accusation out there that the state security agencies allegedly tortured what a boy named Edridge and them. Imagine that boy getting on the stand and saying that I was tortured. Imagine that happening, right? What does that do to that evidence? So all of those things they will have to put in place when you are trying to prove a case beyond all reasonable doubt. That's why these things you got to be extremely careful. You know, when the international fire, when Chief Pillman and them went to Liberia, their job was to determine if it was arson. Yes. Their job was not to determine who did it.
Yes.
Their job was, right, to determine if this thing was electrical or was it arson, you know? Yes, Augustine Fire. Yes,
Augustine
thank
Fire,
you very much.
Yeah, you're a library historian.
Yeah,
Augustine Fire,
so yeah, so I think he has a strong,
a big task.
He has a big task, right?
Prove,
I'm sure maybe he has reviewed the evidence and you know, and if I'm sure they feel comfortable that what they have can what it's in. I'm sure they have reviewed the evidence, because if they lose this thing, it's going to be
somebody said something to the person said, Tomalin, if I hope the people knew how to know what they are doing, because this case could cost them. It could hunt them tomorrow. Cost them the election. If they're running re-election next 2029, it could cost them.
And that's why I said, Tommy, that's why I think it's important that the defense requests a public trial.
Yes.
It's absolutely important for a public trial to take place where cameras are allowed. People can go in there and watch the trial. Yes, it will be a spectacle, but you want for people to be able to see what is happening because of the magnitude of this case. Someone highlighted to me today. They said that the IG did say, I think even Kofa mentioned it, that the IG said that, you know, this is a highly political case. True. I mean, it is a political case because the players that are involved are politicians. They are you know, elected leaders in the country. So we also going to have to pay attention to the politics of it, right? What is this going to mean for Funati Kofa? What is this going to mean for those lawmakers? What is it going to mean for the state, right? And that's why I think many folks, even folks from the government, should also be very careful and allow this thing to play out and allow the legal side of things to play out. But listen, I think you know, the whole thing about them, you know, calling them on Friday and, you know, all of that, that's the regular trick in the book, you know, in Liberia. They do. I think Kofa knew that they were going to get arrested.
But said that maybe Kofa he could have said, well, we could come on Monday because we're not inviting them. But
yeah, but you know, I mean, he took a toothbrush, so he I think he anticipated that anticipated that was a potential or possibility for him to go to jail. And you know, I tell people all the time, you know, as a politician in Liberia, you know, going to jail may not be too much of a bad thing, you know. Sometimes they won't look at the jail on your, they won't look at the jail thing on your resume. I know that the only thing that I don't want to get on my resume, my political resume, I don't want to go to no damn jail in Liberia.
Yeah, I've been in jail. I've been in jail, my bro, before. So
yeah, that I want to know, you know. But
you
no,
know,
I
Ben,
think it's going to
you
be
know, Ben,
interesting.
let me, maybe you interpret for me. The former president and I were texting last night before he went to this case this morning. He said me something, but then I know I'll confuse. He said, "Please tell my countryman hello. Tell him to wake up and live. Life is too short. Take care and have a great night." Former president texted me last night before he went to the court this morning. But he left me. I was confused. I said, "Well, what you mean?"
Yeah.
He said, "Please tell my countryman hello. Tell him to wake up and live. Life is too short. Take care and have a great night." But right after he said, I understand. I was confused.
Maybe, yeah, inquire from him. I don't know who the person he's talking about, but maybe he.
But it was but the thing today, right? He appeared to the court today, and I mean, I don't know. You know, I was talking to somebody today. I said, the man arrived at the court early this morning. He got there, bang, in, out. They got it bond secure. Because initially I heard that they were trying to even tell the insurance company not to even honor the people bond, trying to play the games again to not take the people bond and just to delay them in jail.
Yeah,
but
I never expected they was going to do. Listen, okay, let me retract what I just said, because you never know what governments will do, or you know, people in power will do. But I always thought that it would have been stupid on their part to try to muscle an insurance company not to give them bond, right? I also thought it was stupid. I always thought it was good. If they had done it, I always thought it was going to be very stupid on their part. Speaking of the former president, I think he met the moment.
Yes.
I think he met the moment. I think a lot of people were beating up on him. You know, has beat up on him enough about this whole impasse in the legislature. But you know, I think he met the moment. I think he played the role. He went over there, and from what I've been told, he even calmed his people down today, because I understand a lot of people were waiting to come out, you know, to come out in the street, especially when they heard that he was going to be going there. And I can understand, you know, that yes, probably could have been a need for that. But I thought what happened today was what should have happened today, right? I thought everything that happened today fell right within line of how we want our country to be. Apart from the fact that they kept them in jail for, you know, for 3 days or 2 days, but just the whole process, right? And again, like I said, I commend the former president, Mr. Cummings. I thought Mr. Cummings, I mean, are you seeing the chemistry between the two of them? Are you seeing, you know, he came outside, he briefed Mr. Cummings, because Mr. Cummings came late, you know, came later. Mr. Cummings, he had come, Mr. Cummings had, I mean, and President Weah had gone inside to go about, to see about everything. When he came back outside, he saw Mr. Cummings, shook his hand, they chatted. I overheard the video where he was briefing Mr. Cummings, telling him, listen, you know, we've secured the bond, everything is in place. And you know, and Mr. Cummings said, very good, you know, we'll be in touch, you know, and he said, we're going to go and wait for them. Several things, you know, happened today. I know we political junkies may want to read into a lot of things, but, you know, I saw a great deal of chemistry with Cummings and Weah. I saw, you know, I mean, today was the first time I saw Joa Taylor and President Weah together again. You know, I think since the election, they have not really been publicly seen together. There was this. It's almost like there was a, you know, there was a moment where you thought. Yeah, so that was when
that was another moment there, though.
Another moment, yeah, another moment where you saw him, you know, greet Kofa at the gates of the CDC headquarters, and let's, you know, we'll wait and see. You know, I think I'm hearing that, you know, political conversations were held today, you know, about you know, formulating something to kind of counter the government moving forward. We wait to see what that's going to look like. We talked about, I think you guys were on the coming the other day on the show here. I wasn't on, but you guys talked about the Cummings and we are meeting. What I have been told from folks internal with them is that we're going to see a lot more of these, a lot more of these gatherings, and the politics of the country will start to shape itself up, because you got to also understand now that the opposition feel like they are under attack. They will have to, they got to be able to put in place to, put things in place to be able to serve as a counter and as a buffer. Yeah.
Yes, it's getting interesting though. But somebody, we all got friends in government, and one of our friends in government were telling me and said, "Look, what's happening now is like you used a word today in one of the chat room. You said something about waking the giant, something about sleeping giant.
Yeah.
The person you just see analogy. The person said they are waking a sleeping giant. That's what they are doing right now, because the opposition have been beat on. Everybody said they're weak. They are not effective and everything. Now you're rallying them together, putting them together. Just like when something happens, people force people to come together, and that's what you see happening now. And for what's happening,
and I think that's what they've done. I think that's what the government has done. I think this government has made some. Yeah, that's the picture I was talking about earlier.
It's today.
Today. Yeah, it's the picture I was talking about earlier. So, but I think, again, like I said, I think something else happened, right? When I said that in that chat room, something wakes up political people, right? Especially after the election, when you lose an election, you go into a hibernation period. You go into a period where you say, let me give the government some time, and then you got a very peculiar situation where you have President George Weah, it's a former president who potentially could be running for president again, right? It's not like what we've seen in the past. We've never had this in the past, right? When Ellen was leaving, she was going. She was not. When she was leaving, she was done. She was retiring. This is not what we have. We have an active, politically engaged former president, right?
Yeah.
And because I was talking to somebody, they said that's one of the reasons Weah was not qualified for the Mo Ibrahim award, because the Mo Ibrahim award is actually for people who are retiring. You got to stay active. Because the Mo Ibrahim people don't want you to use their money to be doing active politics in your country. So, but the reason I say that is to say that, so you have a unique situation where you have an active former president who is potentially could be running for president, one of the top front runners. Then you got Mr. Cummings, who there's a lot of chorus around him coming. People are talking to him. People are asking. I've spoken to a lot of people who are saying, let's encourage Cummings. People should encourage Cummings to be able to come back onto the scene. And then you have the outliers, right? You got other outliers, which at the end of the day, things will sort itself out. But what am I trying to say here is, you don't want, one of the things that the Unity Party is doing is, I think she's lighting too many fires, right? 6 to 8 months, 7 months, right? 7 to 8 months on removing the speaker.
Yeah.
Right. Speaker is removed. Then you got this trial that's coming up, right? Then you got all these there's so many different little side tracks. Then you got the economic problems in the country. Then you got the temperature of the country where people are not happy, right? You got all these different things. It seems like they're shooting. It's almost like you have a circular firing squad, right? You're just shooting from the hip and hoping which one will hit or which one will not hit, right? I think what they need to do, and I'm not in the business of advising government, but they have to figure out because you don't want to take the opposition for granted. You don't want a situation where the opposition then start. The first time you saw a statement issued jointly by the opposition was because of these crises. You don't want that to be a habit moving forward, right? If you're in the government, you want that to be a habit moving forward, because the opposition is stronger when they're together. It's in your place, your better place to have them all splintered and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to say. So we'll wait and see what's gonna happen, but I can tell you there's gonna is going to be very interesting. She said we don't want a repeat of the CPP.
Yeah, but let me address Sis Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, right? I know this gone weekend, Ben and I was involving a lot of conversation with different people from different political spectrum. And one thing I think like I got from all of this conversation is that right now, 2025, 26 is the time to, if you have a party, you build your base. Try to strengthen your base. Try to get your base together. You know, work within your party, strengthen your party. You know, make it and see who your base. You know, for instance, a party can say, well, our target is to focus on first-time voters. Our target is to focus on the youth that will be voting the first time in 2029. Now, when that is done, come 2027, and then when you start talking about collaboration, whatever the case, you come to the table with something. Like right now, you're gonna see a lot of parties being formed. I know a new party is coming, maybe before the year end, by December. A new party is coming to form a new party. They coming to announce the new party. Now, they will come with all of these parties, but they want to sit at the table. Now, when you come to the table, you want to come with something with a leverage. It's okay. When we're talking about collaboration, they want I come with something. I'm just coming with only my file. No, come with something. That's why right now, for the next 2 years, strengthen your base, form your. But what you do at the same time, keep engaged. Keep engaged with the other parties. You'll keep talking. You'll meet periodically. You know, you guys keep on talking and strengthen your base so that when the time comes, you have something to come to the table with. You won't come empty-handed. You come with something. So again, I think that was going to happen. But
so I think that's you're talking about. I think that's that's the CMC's model, right?
Yeah,
that's what the CMC is doing. The CMC's argument is we're going to come, we're going to show our juice.
Yeah,
in Liberian terms, right? We're going to show our juice, and then we will come back and we'll reset and we'll recalibrate and we'll try to figure out what makes sense or what don't make sense. But again, like I said, I understand Rachel's.
I understand.
I understand her hesitation, because I also said it. The thing about these collaborations is when you come into this collaboration without a clear arrowhead or a clear agenda of what's going to happen, when you have these superficial aspirations like what the CPP had. And I always said that when we started it, right? That a lot of those things were superficial, going to primaries and doing all of those things. Our democracy is not as strong and ready for those things yet. The coalitions and the collaborations that work got to have a clear-cut agenda. Now, what I do believe that they should be doing is that I believe these political leaders should be building their own relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to matter. It's going to be if Cummings is going to work with Wea, or Musa is going to work with Wea or Cummings, or who's the other person, Move or whoever, because we don't have a lot of people already.
Yeah.
Most of the quote unquote opposition people are in government, right? Because they formed the UP alliance.
After the weekend, I changed my mind. I would not bother you again to leave the Liberia Party. After the weekend conversation, I would not bother you. I would not force you to leave.
Look, and
the party, because at the end of the day, it will make sense. Like Israel was saying, tomorrow will make sense. I believe in that. The Liberia Party will make sense tomorrow.
Yeah, the thing is, all these parties are going through transitions. Even the CDC is going through a transition.
Yes.
Right? The CDC has transitioned from being a ruling party to an opposition party. The ANC is going through her transition, right? Where they're trying to find their bearings and to figure out what makes sense. Mr. Cummings is trying to figure out what makes sense. Is this something that is worth a shot? If it's not worth a shot, then you got new parties like the CMC coming in, making headwaves, doing different things. And then you got the old regular outliers and old regular players, right? So for parties like Liberty Party that finds herself kind of like in the crosshairs right now, right? The leadership of the Liberty Party is, I can ultimately say the Liberty Party, as the Liberty Party currently, is in a semi relationship with the ruling establishment, right? Because of the leadership. Most of the leaders in the Liberty Party are in the government. But
the party, Ben, the party is the most interesting party. Let me give it. It's very unique. First of all, you got like you right now. You're not part of the government, but you're a key member of the Liberty Party. Councillor Charlene Bromskin, she's not part of the government. She's a key member of the Liberty Party. You got DeLong. He's with the alliance. You got Yomli with the alliance. But they're saying no. We are opposition. Even though we consider ourselves an opposition party, but so the other party will be very key because we want to see how that puzzle will come to how you will figure something because they got Ben, they got Charlene, and then you got Yomli, you got DeLong. So we want to see what will happen at the end of the day. So that's why I say it is important. It's imperative that Ben stays at the Liberty Party. We're not forcing on the Liberty Party. At the end of the day. Yeah, we won't regret it.
Look, it's going to be, and one of the things that a lot of people have asked me, people have noticed that I've been a little cold about politics since the elections. Oh, Ben, you don't post anymore. You don't do it, and I'm being very intentional. I know why I'm doing it. I've been in this game so long that I know when the excitement comes, I know when the excitement fades, I know when people, how to add value when you think there's no value. So I know for sure that when the real time arrives, there will be conversations across the board. Because look, that's one of the things that I tell people. Unlike, that's why I can laugh at when I see people, they person jumping from one party to the other party and saying, look, politics is interest.
But what's your our NCMC?
What is it? Oh, no, I'm not, and that's the other thing, which is a good thing, which is a good thing. People think, the thing is because when I believe that my politics is very liberal centric, right? I have some conservative traits, but I'm very liberal centric, right? I believe in crossing the aisle, in having conversation. I'm the kind of politician who, Tomalin, I'm able to pick up the phone, or my lines are open to President Bokai calling me. My lines are open to Vice President Kuhn calling me. My lines are open to President Weah calling me. The same thing. Because when you are a politician, this thing about minding your own wing, you never know where you're gonna, where you're gonna need to be. And that's the reason why I say, right? If you follow Kenyan politics,
yes,
Kenyan politics for me is the most interesting politics. I don't know so much about it. There are very few African countries that I follow their politics, but I follow Kenyan politics very, very closely. Every election cycle, there's a new collaboration in Kenya.
Uhuru and Raleigh.
And Raleigh, right? In the last election, they had the Azimio. They had the Azimio coalition. William Ruto, who is now the president, was the sitting deputy president, but was not being supported by Uhuru. Uhuru decided that he was going to support his opposition. William Ruto will form his coalition with Kenya Kwanzaa, right? William Ruto won the election. But guess who is in collaboration with William Ruto today? Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is now in collaboration with William Ruto. Why? William Ruto, former deputy president, was impeached.
Yes.
He not started a party. And who he's in collaboration with? Kalonzo Musyoka, who was Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua. Martha Karua was Raila Odinga vice presidential candidate. Kalonzo Musyoka was also in the coalition with Raila Odinga. But Martha Karua, Rigathi Gachagua, and what it meant and Kalonzo Musyoka, they are now in a collaboration.
With the guy who are
with Rigathi Gachagua, who is the former deputy, and his entire existence right now is to stop William Ruto from getting a second term.
Yeah,
and so that's why I look at and the problem with Liberian politics is, one, we are too emotional. Two, we take things too personal. Three, we don't understand that this notion, I can guarantee you, Tomalin, everybody who claims and say, you're not in the interest of the country, where you to your own place for? They pay you. What are you doing there? And you there because that where your interest is?
Exactly.
That's what your interest is. You know, they see people who were clapping and making noise about the UP alliance. Some of them vest with the UP alliance today.
Okay, you just brought up something.
UP alliance.
You just brought up something. Now, and this why I see within the UP alliance now. You and I know they already have cracks in the UP alliance now.
Mm-hmm.
They have their various cliques and teams. Don't mind what thing they're doing when they go and they sit down or they say that, no. They're having their own differences happening right now. There's a lot of things happening within the alliance. And now, as you see the CPP, they could have infiltrated. But with the other group, the people, the opposition are coming together that are talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not going to come and are you going to? Can they infiltrate? We are
you are absolutely right. That is one of the challenge this ruling establishment may have in damaging a potential opposition coalition, because a potential opposition coalition, if that potential opposition coalition includes the ANC, the CDC, the CMC, which one of the leaders you're going to go bribe to get out of a coalition?
It's impossible.
You're not bribing Musa. You're not bribing Cummings. You sure not bribing We Are, right? So this ruling establishment will have to, first of all, keep her coalition together intact. That's the first challenge they will have. And it's not challenging in a sense that it's not impossible, because guess what? They're the ruling party, right? But they have to keep their coalition intact. They have to govern well. They have to figure out a way to solve some of the bread and butter issues of the country, because I can tell you the next election will be about the bread and butter issues. It will be about, those pocketbook issues. That's what the next election is going to be about. Yeah, you're going to have the normal tribal thing here and there, but in the end, the core things that people are going to be looking at will be the conversations that people are having in the markets. When you're talking to people in these market stalls and all these people, those are going to be the things that people are going to be looking at, and how their lives can be transitioned. The issue of roads is no longer a campaign issue, to be quite honest with you. Why? Because of the progress we have made as a nation, right? Ellen being fixing road. We are king of fixing road. Boyka fixing road right now. By the time we reach 2029, we may have a decent, good bit of road network that, roads will be part of the campaign talk, but it will be more economical. It will be more, can I be able, the things that women are talking about on the streets, when this, when people used to buy from us, why people not buying? You got to be able to find a way to flip it, to be able to give people purchasing power, to be able to be involved in the economy, and to be able to do the things that they need to do. So the alliances, there's going to be new alliances that will be forged. There is the conversation about this third lane. Musa wrote a brilliant the other night about the third lane. I thought it was extremely powerful. I think it was probably one of the most compelling arguments that I've heard, because I've been very skeptical about this third lane thing. But when I read what Musa wrote, I thought it was one of the most compelling arguments anybody has made about this third lane. And I'll tell you this, Tommy, and I'll break some news tonight. I will go on the record to say I'm almost in favor of a third lane now, because you know what? It will push these establishment parties and establishment institutions, right, to step the game up. Because when you have competition, the people only benefit. When you have good competition, the people benefit, Tomalin, right? Yeah. You get a chance to be able to sharpen. They say iron sharpening iron. So I encourage parties like the CMCs, new parties that are coming up. If they're going to give these establishment parties, a heck of a run for their money, I'm all for it. Because guess what? It's going to force these establishment parties. It's going to force the Weas. It's going to force the Cummingses. It's going to force all of them, the Buckeyes. And that's the other thing. I personally believe that if President Buckeye is healthy and makes it to 2029, he's running for re-election.
You're wrong. Definitely you're wrong. I mean, anybody tell me that he's not going to run, the person, like you said.
Yeah.
When Joe Biden, we thought Joe Biden wasn't going to run, but guess what? Biden said he was going to run. He decided he's not running.
And especially, Tomini, one of the things that will also inform him to run will be what the collaboration on the opposition side will look like.
Yes.
If there is a collaboration on the opposition side where 2 or 3 of these parties come together and they say, you know what, we're going to put up a ticket The Unity Party will have to look herself in the mirror to ask herself, will Jeremiah Cohn be able to get this thing done? Or should we stick with the candidate we have, stick with the ticket that we have, take that ticket to the Liberian people, make the argument for continuity, and then at some point, maybe Jeremiah Cohn takes over, right? But I can tell you, if Joe Buckeye stays healthy, he's an aged man. You know, I mean, we shouldn't act like he's not aged. He's 80 years old, right?
Yeah.
By 2028, Joe Buckeye is going to be what? 83, 84?
Yes.
Yeah, about 84, right? That's an advanced age. But guess what? The thing about the presidency, your life expectancy go up. It don't come down.
But I saw him today. Looking so sharp, looking like, I said, what?
That's the thing. That's the thing about the presidency, right? You have access to the best of everything.
Best doctors, everything.
The best of everything. So if he's up to it, if he can do it, and he can get up, and he can move, and he can walk, and he can do the thing that he need to do, and he can go out there and make the case, I'm telling you, he's going to be on the ticket.
No,
they will make the case for him to be on the ticket.
Right now, the UP folks are praying that he remains healthy to be on the ticket. Most of them want him to be on the ticket.
Yeah.
Want to be on the ticket because
I think
it'll be a tough. No, if certain things they have to deliver on the bread and butter issues, the basic thing. Now you find out whether the people's lives are being impacted, whether the economic situation have changed, whether people are their jobs, whether people now, mind you, now there have been a lot of foreign trips made, and they said investors are coming. But the problem somehow, I'll tell somebody, I said, look, how investors coming Liberia when all these things are happening? People look at all these things and say, no, like we can't go Liberia right now because every 5 minutes we hearing people making noise. This thing happening. They stay fighting among themselves, and nobody will put their money there right now. And if they continue in such a trend, they won't have employment opportunities coming.
And Tomalin, George, and they need to, and again, one of the things that I think every government after government, the mistake they make, they think this FDI thing, foreign direct investment, is what's going to change the country. That's not what's going to change the country. ArcelorMittal, according to the last thing, they say that our concentrator they dedicated, right?
Yeah.
They spent 1.2 billion according to the number, 1.2 billion, right? Yeah. How many jobs did they say it was creating? 5,000, 10,000 max, maybe. That's a drop in the bucket.
Progressively too. They're not even coming at once.
Drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So if you are at that pace, if 1.2 billion investment employing 5,000 or 10,000 people, do you know how many 1.2 billion investments you need to be able to employ a majority of your people? No. Deal with a couple of issues. Thank you very much, Raleigh. Fix your electricity problem. Industries will come in the country, right? That is what he's right on the money.
Yeah, he's on the money. Yeah.
Fix your electricity problem. You will open the country up, turn the country into an industrial. You initiate your own industrial revolution. You see what's happening in Burkina Faso. That's what's happening in Burkina Faso. Tomato factory and corn factory. There are other factory. That's the only way you're going to get a majority of your people employed. Foreign direct investment is a sexy acronym. FDI is a sexy acronym, but it don't move the needle. It don't move the needle. Because you know how many foreign direct investment opportunities we had in Liberia during early 12 years? How many people were in the workforce? Majority of the workforce was expatriates. Yeah. United Nations. Yeah, Liberians are working for the United Nations. When Chevron came, you know how much Chevron invested in Liberia? Do you know how many Liberian Chevron have hired? Not more than 300. Do you know how many ExxonMobil hired? The same thing. You have BHP Billiton. You have BRE. You have Western Cluster. You have what the other one is? The palm oil company, Golden Verolium.
Verolium.
How many employments those companies offer to our people? When you combine all those investments that came into the country, they didn't even hire a good 300,000 Liberians.
No.
And you got a population of 5.2, 5.3 million people. What you need to do is to fix your electricity problem, open the country up, open ecotourism, right? Let people start coming to work on creating an environment where people can be able to thrive in the private sector. Government, you are the engine for you are the engine for an effective private sector, right? What you need now is the engine oil to turn that engine. So how do you do that? You start to incorporate different things within your model. But if we think we're going to go with the same William V.S. Stockman and model open door policy, let attract a lot of investors.
These long-term
All
concession
the things that waste of time. All the things that waste of time. How long Firestone been in Liberia? How many people Firestone?
1926.
How many people Firestone has employed? There's like a drop in the ocean. So I think that's what they will have to focus on. Now, do they have a lot of time? No, I don't think they do. So they got to figure out something like a stopgap measure to be able to go back to the country. Like I say, I think they wasted a lot of time on a lot of frivolous things that they had no business wasting their time on.
Exactly. They speak of impasse and all they're doing these things. They affected them. Their agenda. They came with an agenda and it just wasted their time. And like you said, it came to power at a time where you have the guy in the White House now is a different guy. He says that use of money helping Liberia a lot. And then they were expecting that MCC or our compound was coming to.
Nobody talking about that.
And now, so by 2028, before Bogota will be over.
Yeah.
Trump, the election will be here in 2028. And the next president will take place to come in office 2029.
January.
So, and
January 2029, we election,
you see, and
nothing's going to happen in the country.
Trump basically putting travel ban on countries in Africa and all now, close to our neighbors. They got Sierra Leone. Partial travel ban.
Yeah, like Canada Courier say, make it easier for the diaspora to open businesses. Look, simple things, Tomalin. You know what I think? You know what makes Rwanda thrive is because of their standing on the easier to do business index. You know how long it takes for you to open a company in Rwanda?
It's very easy, very quickly, right?
Not more than 48 hours.
You see that?
Not more than 48 hours, and you can go right online and do it. You go right online and do it. Cut all the red tape. Check out how in this country, you can sit on your computer and you can open an LLC in Delaware. I can open an LLC in Delaware sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina. What is stopping us from doing that? What is stopping us from, and I see other countries deliberately doing those things. Ghana, Sierra Leone, all of these countries that are attracting the kind of like the push that we're looking for is because it's easier to do business in those countries. Cut the red tapes for the people. The port. Why is it cheaper and easier for you to ship your car to Guinea and drive it over the border into Liberia than for you to ship your car to Liberia and don't have to pay all the fees that we got lined up in the port, right? There have to be deliberate actions and deliberate steps taken to be able to solve the economic issues that we're dealing with in the country. If you don't have money, if you don't put money in people's pockets, the engine of the private sector is not going to turn. People are not going to be able to purchase. You got to be able to give the people purchasing power. That's one of the things that worked well during the early years because they had the UN.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of money in the system, So, and no, Richard, and this is something I wanted to talk about also. I don't think corruption is stopping us. I don't think so. Look, the issue of corruption is everywhere. The issue of corruption is everywhere. What is stopping us is the political will to be able to do some of the things that we need to be able to do. There will always be corruption. There was corruption from the day the earth started to the day that the earth will potentially end.
Corruption, I don't eat the corruption that do.
Yeah, there are other countries that are doing well. It means that the countries ain't got corruption. But guess what? They are controlling corruption. So I can understand when you talk about corruption is stopping us. That's true. But to a certain extent, it's more of the control of corruption. It's more of the control of corruption. That's the thing I think that we need to that we need to, that we need to focus on. Yeah. And incompetence, that's true. Incompetence is also something that is stopping us. We got to have people in the right places, right? I said it the other day, I think on this show, Tomalin, I talk about the lack of innovation. The lack of innovation. We are doing things still like we're in the 60s. We're still building our roads like we're in the 60s. We're building major highways, and we're not putting, there's just certain things that we need to literally adapt and start to do. We're building streets in, roads in the city, and we're not putting sidewalks. We're not putting proper drainages. All of those things.
But let me ask you a question, right? We always boast about the Wologisi Mountain, the Sapo National Park. What are we doing? Why are we just keeping these things? Why are people not investing? Why would I making use of it?
Again, as the mindset, Tomalin, and if you look at what's happening in Guinea right now with the Samadou project, and I encourage people to go and Google the Samadou project. These boys are building a whole city, whole freaking city around a mountain. Thousands and thousands of kilometers of railroads, right? The Wologisi thing. By the time you want to talk about, that our mountain. Yes. Generations after generations. Again, what needs to happen is the right kind of investment. Nationalize some of these things. Nationalize some of them. When you're coming into a country, do not stop this normal concession thing. Nationalize it and deal with the people as partners, where the country has a majority share, and they're not looking at it from a thing like you paying the country dividend. Like B Mountain in Cape Mount. B Mountain, according to what they reported to the central bank last year, exported $800+ million worth of gold from Liberia.
Look at that.
800. That is more than our national budget. $800+ million worth of gold.
And how much went into our covers?
22 million.
Okay. Overall, last year alone, right?
Last year,
$1.5 billion was taken out of our country. Only 182 million went to our national covers.
So you see the
you saw the guy did in Burkina Faso, right?
Yeah.
They were taking it. He told us, no. Then they said, but we signed a concession agreement. He said, I don't care.
Yeah.
But you want to let you guys take this thing out of Burkina Faso. And like you said, the political will, that's why we need a political will.
Political will, you have to nationalize these things, change the investment model of the country, let them come into the country from a national. Once you nationalize your minds, the people coming into your country, they're not coming to your country from a concession standpoint. That's where you have to fix your electricity, because then it takes that argument away from them to say, well, our overhead, we got to pay for electricity, we got to pay a dam, or we got to buy generators. So no, you got reliable power. You got reliable power in the country. You don't got to worry about that. It makes your position of negotiation stronger. Most of the time when Liberia is going to negotiate, we negotiate from a position of weakness and not from a position of strength. Yes. We negotiate from a position of weakness because we tell them, oh, you got to build a road for us. They're not concession companies supposed to be building our roads. Yeah. Concession companies are not supposed to be building our roads. In this country you're in, do you see private companies building roads that are doing business with the U.S. government or with the state government? They are under the government of transportation and their taxes. Exactly. So they're saying about, you got to have corporate social responsibility. You got to build one school. That's not the people's responsibility to do that. Strike a fair share. Strike a fair deal. Give the country what the country deserves. And you will be able to build many roads and you'll be able to build many schools. But we are shortchanged all the time. And again, that's why I said administration after administration have shortchanged the country based on the model that we are currently using. We have to come into the 21st century. We have to do peer review. That's why they had the African Union peer review mechanism, where you go and you learn from your friend.
Your friend, yeah.
You can talk to your friend. What are you doing? What are you doing that's working for you? How can we replicate it in our country? Liberia cannot continue to live like an island. We can't continue to be doing the things that we're doing and expect. You go right next to go to Guinea, like I said, go and Google the Samadou project. It's no joke. It's no joke.
Yes,
billions of dollars.
That project, tell me about that project today.
And guess what? The Samandu project is a Samandu mountain that is shared between Liberia and Guinea. The people there are exploiting their own, and they're leaving our own, and we're looking at it. We're looking at it. You know, we have to change our approach, Tomalin. We have to change our approach.
We got last 21 minutes. We'll be leaving 20 minutes from now. But let me say this, Ben, quickly. I want to just digress a little bit. The issue about this issue today, another story today was about this. The former president gave a cow, gave rice. I know he made fun of it, but my thing is that I don't know why they like. I mean, I thought Peabody dealt with it good today on the show. I like how he dealt with it on the show.
Oh, I didn't listen to it. No. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he dealt with it good. I don't know, but do you think this girl Selu, right?
No, Mami
Do. You think the way she handle things is the right way, or you think she being pushed by somebody is pushing her to do what she did? Because I mean, like Peabody said, I mean, regardless of what happened, that's a different case. But the former president decided to come and identify with you, your family, and then you did it 2 times and you rejected it twice, and so forth. He felt that was politicizing her mother's death and so forth. And I mean, it's like, don't tell me in this time people want it mad. You don't tell me you need 50 bag of rice, 2 cows, and $5,000. You need it. But then because as soon as the government finish burying the Oma, it'll close that book and move on. And only reason why President Bogart is doing it because he's in government, he got the money to do it right now. But you think he was not in government, he would do what he's doing right now? But what your take on it? You think what she did was right?
No. I look. First of all, I think it's a huge distraction. I think she needs to focus on burying her mom. I think she needs to leave all the side attractions. You know, I understand she's getting ready to do interviews. I think she needs to focus on burying her mom, right? I think clearly there is an issue between she and the former president, whatever those issues are. Clearly there's one. She wrote a scathing response to his tribute when he first wrote it. And again, like I said, it took a lot of guts for him to go there, especially knowing what had happened with her. But with that being said, what I think is I do believe that if you look at the video, because I finally got a chance to watch all the videos, the cow was requested by the women, right? Okay. There's a video where the woman sitting on the ground, the woman told him, when the first child can visit, you then say first child. When the first child can visit, you got to, no, sorry, I read something. Yeah. While you're around all your senses can go away. Okay.
Nonsense.
Yeah. But let me say this. So I think the cow was requested.
Yeah.
And I think what he was doing was responding to the request, which was the honorable thing to do. But to answer your question, I think she has pushed it too far. If I was advising her, I would tell her to just, let everything simmer, stay away from the media. Don't do all this plenty, thing that's going on. Bury your mom. And look, if there's going to have to be a meeting of the minds between them and the former president, that's fine. If they don't want to, that's also fine. But I think it's unfair, right, to the memory of her mother to get caught up in all this thing. The cow, returning the rice, returning the money, because if we're talking about the treatment of Nyenwolo, as former first lady, in all fairness, the only government that treated Nyenwolo one of our child stealer.
He gave her car, he gave security.
In fact, the house that they were into, the child stealer renovated that house for.
Yes, I know.
Right? You were in Liberia when she came. There was a national program held. He made it very clear. He gave her a car. He made it clear that she was going to be treated with all the courtesies and the respect of the former first lady she was receiving. In fact, she said it on many occasions. She said it on many occasions that she received really, really, really great treatment from Charles Taylor, taking into consideration that Charles Taylor, the one that brought the war to overthrow her husband, right? The Ellen government came, they didn't do it, right? The Weah government came, also didn't do it. What happened was, I think she was receiving what is being given to every other former official. Her argument is that it was too small. So with that being said, what I think she needs to focus on is to just bury her mother. I think it's a difficult time for her. And that's why I'm trying to be very careful in what I say, because I know what it is to lose a parent, right? And when you lose a parent, it's a very emotional thing. Is something that you don't want, but she should not be used, or she shouldn't get caught up in all the politics and and this and that. Our people would do our normal talking, would do the normal laughing about the cow and all of that. But I think it is a disservice to the memory of her mother. I think she needs to focus on burying her mom and then allowing things to just fall in place and honor her parents, honor the memory of her parents, and just let it be. The other thing that I find fascinating is that I haven't heard from any of her other siblings. You know, she's the only one who has been talking. I don't know, maybe it's possible, maybe it's just by design that they're not talking. Maybe she's the leader.
Remember last week, I told you I talked to SKD Jr., right? He's in London. And then he arranged a show. We arranged a show to try to appear. And then here his spokesperson, the guy, he called me. He said, well, this guy is our spokesperson of the family. So when we did the flyer, everything, put the flyer up. But then I seen Dave Boga went to Nigeria. The president Boga went to Nigeria. So a few hours for the show to start, they called me. They said, well, but when the flyer went out, it reached out to the government people. So he called me and said, oh, it's a change. I said, what happened? I said, well, the president called me from Nigeria and said that when he comes from Nigeria, he will visit us. So please, that's what they show. So our man, I say, but come on now. We not put our flyer up, people expecting you to appear. Then you say the president called you, so you're not coming up again. They said, then they had to put me on a conference call. They said, well, you know something? We want you guys will ask some questions that we can't answer. And then it would undermine our whole team with the government and so forth. So, but then you guys said, Tomalin, I think it makes sense. Let give the people a chance. The president come from Nigeria and be with them. So the president came and met with them, whatever the case. But then, since the president met with them, we know what happened. I know they said the body was still at Tracker Funeral Home. We know what had been made and so forth. The president visited them. I saw him visiting them and so forth. But interestingly, last night I was with one of the president's those sons. We're sitting together somewhere. He's in New Jersey. And we're sitting together. In fact, I didn't know until I thought I was joking. When his friends asked him, but you know that President Dawson sitting by you here? I said, oh, hey, he's not during when he passed to. I said, when I asked him, he said, oh my man. I said, but here's the thing now. This guy, he's all diehard Joe. We have fan. He said this guy told me the guy he can't even don't talk the guy. Oh, he's a hard we are fan. I said, but what happened? He said, no. What I get doing different. We're not in support what she's doing. He'll tell me he's in support what she's doing. So apparently the family, but then my concern is who's the head of the family? Because I was told that Ambassador Nyenwolo was the family head in Liberia there.
You know, but for me, I don't know that dynamic.
But then because like today, they were rejected. Then they went back to pick her up again. Then she her saying again, she found it to her and said, order defense. So I don't know who's leading the charge there. Who heading the family?
And I think, listen, I think there's enough blame that could go around. But for me, I just think at the end of the day, they need to just figure it out. And just, for me, I think it's important. All the things that can happen, all the things. Tomalin, Robert Garguah that's sitting now in Dubai talking about his own link.
Yeah, I mean, because I have friend. I think I have friend with Gary, right? I think.
Oh, so okay. I think for me, no, Selu was the one that we met at his wedding. But I think at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of disservice that's happening right now to the memory of her mom, and I think they need to just
link in the chat room.
Yeah, they need to just tune it down and bury this woman. I hear that there's going to be a joint burial with she and the former president. That's what I saw on the news. I don't know how true it is.
Is that who? Former president?
President Doe.
Oh, the burial together?
Yeah. They're saying the government has given permission to bury both of them together. Yeah. Look, they're all full of ashtray. You know, so, you see that, man?
Oh, eating Arab man.
We ran too tall today.
Is it when you wear?
Habibi, come to Dubai.
Robert, what did they give you that? What did they give you now?
This is the whole
Arabic.
It's the sheik. It's
called
the sheik. Yeah, it's called the sheik. It's called the sheik. But I'm on my way to when I went to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got that's the traditional area. Visiting a few historic mosques and stuff, so we got to dress like that, you know.
That's
so
Garguah.
Yeah.
Roberto.
What time is it over there? It's probably
it's 7:18 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 7:18. I think the US is about what Dubai, United Arab Emirates is like 9-10 hours difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, man. What's going on? Everything's good?
Robert.
Yeah,
we're talking things that happened over the weekend and also about the way they how they call salute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean that's crazy what's happening with the whole cow and thing. It's very unfortunate because she was there when the former president, and what I'm hearing is that some family members thought that the president disrespected her by not handshaking, but I don't think that's newsworthy because this is not the first time he's done this, and I think the gesture of like the chest and the elbow and thing, I think that's out of respect, and I don't think that's new. She was right there. Now, some people have said that during his speech, she indicated that there were things said during the speech that she didn't like, when the president said, he spoke. Yeah, wow. like when the president said, Ambassador Uniba, what's his name? Unibo. Ambassador Unibo told me I had.
You know that. Yeah, be careful how you speak that name because.
Yeah, I know.
You can tell no cause.
Yeah. So some people are saying, why was we are told that he had to come to the mat? So that means he didn't sincerely intend to go if the ambassador had not requested his presence, which also didn't make sense. Yeah, right? Because he was traveling. He also requested his excuse from the actual funeral in Grand Jita because he would be traveling. So I don't see how that is disrespectful. If the man had prior plans and he's scheduled to travel, he's saying, please excuse me, I won't be there, but you will feel my impact. I will send my whole crew there. I don't see how that is disrespectful. I think that, but that's interesting. We have not heard about the $5,000, and he gave more.
Also,
well, based on the last source that I gathered, the president has not received the $5,000 yet. The cow went, and the whatchamacallit went.
I think the cow. They said the cow is. But then took the cow. I think
they took the cow and they took the rice, but the cash that was given, and I think it was. I'm not going to get this, but based on the source that I've gathered,
no, it was handed to her. If you watch the video, when he handed the envelope to Yenebo walked over and handed her the envelope.
And she took it.
She took it. Yes.
Yeah, it's in the video.
So I mean, somebody involved.
It's on the video.
So what I'm hearing now, what I'm hearing now is that she's saying, and I want to be very careful. She's saying that the money was handed to someone else. So that someone else is the person who's in control of the funeral finances. I've heard different names, but based on my sources, that $5,000 is still in question whether or not it's been moved around like the cow and the rice. Because I don't think the president has received that. But the bottom line here is, listen, whatever personal issue there is, obviously there's personal issue there, right? Whatever personal issue there is, I think at this moment, I think the burial of Mistress Doe, I think is paramount. And I can't put myself in her shoes. I do know that the family have different perspectives on this. People that I'm close to in the family, a lot of folks don't agree with it, and they feel like this is a personal vendetta with her situation and what happened with the Weah situation. But I think at this moment, you put away your personal issues and just focus on giving your mother a befitting burial. And when regardless what happened, we can always fix these issues behind closed doors. But for this to be a public spectacle with the former president who went to show condolence and empathy when we should all be coming around, and she was very receptive from the beginning. She was very receptive.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what switched or turned on that.
Okay, so let's talk about what Melvin's saying here. Melvin's talking about the fact that he didn't shake her hand and he gave her the elbow thing. But if you do watch the video also, right? If you do watch the video also, Robert, it's just we ain't got a way to play the video, but if you do watch the video also, at some point you can see that we are attempted. I don't know. He looked like he was going to hug her, but then they did the elbow bump. But with that being said, for me, let's. I just want to say, I just think the timing is wrong. I think, and this is about the memory of her mother. For me, that's how I see it. Again, like I said, I know what it is to lose a parent, so I am fully cognizant and don't want to, get caught up in the UP versus CDC conversation, because that's clearly what is happening here, right? Some people who don't like the CDC are saying, "Oh yeah, we should have, we should not do this, blah 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 blah." People who like the CDC saying that, mommy is being disrespectful and stuff. I just think she needs to just let everything rest. I think enough attention has been given for all of the wrong reasons about this, and I think she needs to redirect the focus to burying and giving her mom the befitting and honorary funeral that her mother deserves. And then, like I said, after that, maybe they can have a conversation, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It feeds into the spectacle that people want to see, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the people send a cow back, and then the cow, we all had everybody had fun today with the cow story, jumping from one point to another. But like I remind everybody, there is a grieving family behind all of this, right?
Right.
And so sometimes we need to let's take a step back. But I don't think, if anybody were asking me, I think President Weah did what he was supposed to do. He got there. He had a purse. When he gave the purse, the woman came and sat on the ground and asked him. If you watch the video, when he was speaking, they reminded him about the cow. Somebody said, "Don't forget a cow." Then it's once in fact, are two cow. That's when he said, "Okay, Finn, I will bring the cow and the rice tomorrow." That's what he said. So again, like I said, the video is out there. This is not something anybody's making up. This is not a defense or anything like that. Again, like I said, the former First Lady of Liberia died. She deserves to get a befitting funeral. Yeah, mommy is going to be doing interviews tomorrow. I don't think she should be doing that.
I don't think that's necessary. That's what I'm saying. It takes away the focus from what is important.
I think she needs to just focus on.
Is she the oldest? She the oldest?
I believe so. I want to believe so. I don't know if she's the oldest, but I want to believe so.
I think she's the closest. She took care of her mom. And so basically, I think there's some hurt, even from family members. I think what I also heard is she's personally hurt because when her mother was going through all of what she's going through right now, some of the family members they didn't come around.
I agree. Like I said, she look. This doesn't take away any legitimate gripe she may have with President Weah. It doesn't take away any of that, right? Yeah. And like I said, there can be different ways you can look at this and talk about it. Right. But for me, I just think the timing is just off. I think it's sucking all the air out of the where the air is supposed to be, right? Which is the funeral and the honoring of her mom. You know,
Right.
yes, her mom did do that interview. I saw, I saw the her mom did do the interview where I saw the her mom crying and explaining this ordeal that she said she had with President Weah, where he scolded her and all of that. But my point here is she's passed. Let's bury her. Let's give her the befitting funeral. And then I think Mommy is entitled to talk about what her issues are with President Weah. Maybe they can have a sit down and they can talk about it, and it can be a movement or a reconciliation movement. I want to remind people, like I said, if Charles Taylor could mend fences with his family, listen, I don't know which, if SKD Jian and Kuangpa son were traveling around the world together preaching reconciliation, right? Because I remember one time they had some joint thing they were doing together, showcasing both of their fathers. There's so much that can happen here, right? But I think this push, this constant push by her to, whether people pushing her, whether she's angry and she just want to get this thing out, I just think it's taking away the attention from where the attention should be, which is giving her mom the honorary funeral and the befitting burial that her mom deserves. But
hey guys, Ben, before I leave, I just want to show you guys this place. So listen, you see, this is this is from the balcony, but look in the back over here, bro.
Yeah, the people that Syria country.
Oh, wow. The people that Syria country, man. Syria country. I mean, the place it's just super, super hot right now. But there's an island right over here on the other side right there. Yeah. See what they did? They built an island right ahead of all waters, and then you have the boats right over there. But it's just a nice place. So we got to plan a trip, man. I got a spot out here already. So we got to plan a trip and come out together.
No problem.
The great Robert Garguah, the tourism czar.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Liberia tourism czar.
Yeah. the tourism ambassador say, I heard the guy watching and say, but you want to be you.
We're ready to transform. Whenever we receive the call, we'll do that. But you guys have been doing a phenomenal job with what's happening, the unfoldings with this former speaker and all of that. I have my own. What's been happening has really been pissing me off with the fact that the speaker was asked to go in for questioning on a Friday and only to be charged and arrested. And you know what they did? They intentionally wanted to make sure he spent the weekend in prison. The unnecessary brutal attack on the CDC chairman. I mean, all of these things that are happening, man, it's terrible. And there's this fraction between, and it worries me because this is how the civil crisis started. When you have a government, I think even listen, those who if the evidence shows that folks, doesn't matter who they are, were involved in the burning of the Capitol, I'm with a persecution 100%. 100% let them be held accountable based on the facts. But to have the incumbent really target opposition leaders, I mean, this feels like a target on opposition leaders, and it's wrong. We shouldn't proceed this way. It's really, really wrong. We hope that this thing can be resolved, because this reminds me of the same thing with Samuel Toy kids. The government wanted to see Samuel Toy in handcuffs, thrown behind bars. It's just all politics. But what you're doing, you're risking the peace and stability of the country, especially after we won the non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council. We should be an exemplar of peace and justice, not the opposite. And so this is really, really wrong. And this kind of stuff makes you want to really do something. Imagine if you're not emotional, and I like the fact that CDC cannot be emotional about this thing, because when you allow your emotions to lead you, this stuff will piss you off to the point where you really and truly want to go and do something to somebody, especially when you feel like these people are abusing power and they're taking advantage of the fact that they're in power, they can do whatever they can do. You really want to do something emotionally, but you can't. CDC cannot allow emotion to guide them through this process. They've got to be very careful. They got to be cautious, and they got to do this thing legally. But Unity Party must be reminded. Power is not forever. And some of the very people who are advocating and doing what they're doing today, some of these very people were just a few months ago, at the feet and mercy of the folks that they're attacking. I know this for a fact. We got to be very careful. We got to be very careful. One of the things I told my friend and brother, I remember during the time of CDC Stickle, is that I like the fact that how he didn't create animosity or political animosity unnecessarily. He was everywhere with everyone at every event, whether it was Unity Partisan, whatever. After the election was over. And that's how we should carry ourselves. When it comes to politics, we should agree fiercely and we should focus on the policy issues. But when you're using power to send a message to your political opponent, this is wrong and this is not in the interest of our peace and our security.
I mean, I agree with you.
You're right.
And, and look, lastly, look, what happened to the CDC chairman on Saturday, I think it was wrong. The way they arrested him, he wasn't violent. He had his hands up, and
I saw a statement. I saw a statement from the police.
What is saying?
Well, acknowledging that he was released, and they from what I hear, they say they turned those officers to the standard professional board, that it wasn't done.
But the order was given by the 102. The nursing from guy that.
So that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to see what the statement. I saw something. They were acknowledging that it was with excessive force.
What's wrong? This man's he's a chairman of the leading opposition party in the country. He hands up. He's not like he attacking the police or he being violent. No, but you grab him and roughly.
But he says something. You mean to tell me they couldn't open the car peacefully and just put him in the car?
I mean, you're resisting arrest is a different thing. But you grab the man and and it's happening on Gregory's watch. It's happening on also to a watch. All the guys.
But you didn't see Gregory Coleman acting like he's some kind of tough guy. I've never seen Gregory Coleman.
I'm very supporting Gregory. On a serious note,
but listen, I'm surprised that what pisses me off even more is that he's acting. He's not himself. Because anyone who knows Gregory, this guy's not tough. He's very soft. He's not tough. So I watched his interview. Where he's talking about bring it on. With the that's the wrong tone, my guy. He's not a tough kind of guy. There are people tougher than Gregory Coleman. Police officers that you want to talk about tough. People knew. What's the police? Jote. People knew not to mess with Jote, not because Jote as they display this kind of tough persona. People knew he was deadly. Gregory Coleman doesn't have that personality. He's never been that kind of guy. So I'm really surprised that suddenly he's appearing to be this tough gangster, don't try me kind of thing. If you try me, I'm going to come. You can defend yourself as a police officer, but do you not think that civilians can defend themselves? You know how many rebels out there? The tone gotta be. We gotta tone down the. That's acting tough. Like they're the only one who can do. We gotta tone down the red, especially those who in power. It's up to the government. The sustainability of our peace and our security is in the hands of the government. So they have got to set the tone in what they're doing right now. I don't think set the tone right.
Now look at this guy. The guy saying, particularly female. What so you think in America, the police they will arrest me if they will just grab me if I'm not resisting arrest or attacking them. If the police call me and say on arrest, hands up, they won't grab me and ruffle me. And when I'm not resisting, so what are you talking about? Janga should, as a lawyer telling me, Janga should sue them. Sue what they do to him.
I saw Janga's statement, and he, I think he said they've reached out, they've been in touch, and blah blah blah. And I also saw a statement. Statement from them saying that they acknowledge the concerns and they're investigating it, and blah blah. Look, let's say that for me, it speaks to the larger it speaks to the larger problem that we have as a nation. I keep saying this over and over. You know, the people who are defending police, the actions, the kind of actions of the police today were the ones who were condemning it yesterday. Because according to them yesterday, this police then was CDC police now. The police now is UP police. Again, it speaks to the kind of society we have, that we need to elevate. We need to elevate our society. We need to understand that there's certain things that's just not acceptable. There's certain things that's just not civilized. We you know, we live in a different time. We live in a time, you know, technology. Everybody got citizens, journalists. If we didn't have cell phones, we probably would never know that situation happened. You know, so everybody just needs to be extremely careful in how they, you know, they carry themselves and they do those things. With that being said, you know, the police as a force, you know, I don't want to paint a wide breach on them, but those bad apples, those ones who are trigger happy, those ones who are overzealous, you know, there's a need to be able to rein them in. You know, I think those guys are, a majority of the police force are working for bare minimum. You know, they're making extremely enormous sacrifices. But again, like I said, those bad ones, those ones who are doing those things, there needs to be an effort to kind of rein them in so that we don't see these things. This brutality thing about, you know, just, and especially it being knowing who he was and what he was doing. He didn't pose any threat to anybody. He hands
that was the problem I got.
Yeah,
the guy is fighting the police or resisting arrest, a different case, but just roughly and I mean,
you know, chunking him in the back of the pickup and just acting. You know, look, I don't know, man. It's you know, the
country. That's what I said. Moving forward, Ben, I ain't gonna lie to you. I go to a lot of brother. I will invest in security. Because
Robert, you good at it. With the behavior now, they get arrest you and just.
I'm not gonna get anybody away. But they cannot. They better not try. Ben, I will invest in security and let the.
Question, right? What Marco Rubio said about the American citizen when they travel. What he said? He said you bother them. What happened?
Why sanction?
If they attempt to silence their free
Americans,
you will be held accountable for it. But apart from that, Tomalin, you just got to invest in your security, because it's not about those in power. It's about the soldiers. It's about these guys that have nothing to lose. If they perceive you a certain way, these guys talk about, they don't understand. These guys talk about the government. These guys are against the government. You know how many places I've been to where people will say, Robert's a nice guy, but he talks against the government. But what they don't understand is the people closest to Joseph Boakai are those closest to me. They don't think that. They don't think like that. I can wind it down with them.
Robert, here's the deal, though. You know, by the time the person that closer to Boakai, you know, by the time you get to them,
it's too late.
You already been
flogged. That's what I'm saying, and that's not much they can do.
You know, not much they can do. If you flung a hurt, honestly, right? No, that's why
I'm not gonna be moving around. I'm not gonna be moving around my river like that, like a casualty.
When in Liberia, by the time I'm somewhere and the tension coming out of just gentlemen, they leave on the place quick, because I want to be. Because you can't be unflogged. If flog you can't be unflogged. Even the things
you get me unflogged.
You get me unflogged. Yeah.
Tomalin, once you are flogged. And you don't have the power to do anything about it, and then you are flogged on camera too. They're not fun things. So I'm not gonna let myself get flogged.
You will condemn it, say they condemn it, but guess what? You already flogged.
But you already flogged.
You flogged. So you don't do all that stuff.
I'm not playing around, man. I will invest in my security. I will anywhere I go, they will be with me in my car.
But as Robert, you get security, you get about 5 of you. If you encounter the national police, the guys they are armed, they got a gear. What can your security do to them?
Ben, we'll have more than we're being equipped. We're being equipped.
Bravo.
We're being equipped. Ben, Tomalin, I come from a place where I sincerely believe in self-defense. I'm seriously telling you, I believe in self-defense. And I'm not trying to hurt nobody.
But what's happening in Liberia now? I want advice you in Liberia. No, honestly, right? In Liberia, I got when I'm moving, I know I got my how do you call it, my taser and my pepper spray on me, right? just for anything. But I do not go in people's way. Trust me, no. I'm somebody, I don't want to be anything. One man can whip me, then they see people making fun of you. They'll say,
exactly.
Then they grab someone and they whip it good.
No, but let's. I don't want us to, and I don't want us to lose focus on the fact that look, we have a problem as a society.
Seriously, though.
And we need to figure it out. But again, like I said, I don't want us to lose focus on the fact that there are other, hundreds of other police officers who go out there and try to do the right thing, right? But what happened to Janga was totally
wrong. What's wrong?
It was not. It was not. It should not have. And and I acknowledge them acknowledging it. And that whatever they're doing, I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's they say they're going to do stand up, but that in itself, but they should not have done that. And the fact that they released him early, which was good, they released him early. He came, he addressed the press, and but yeah.
But they released him immediately.
Yeah, they released him immediately. I think by the time he got there. By the time
the problem is that video will be around for a long while, and honestly, they were not treating it long.
Oh, Ben, before I go, there's a guy who's working. It's a Liberian guy. What's his name? His name is Otis. He saw when we came. He worked there. He been here for what? I think he said 3 years now. He watches the closing argument. He
recognized you.
Yeah, he recognized me when we were. I think when we were checking in or something like that. So he called my name. I was like, "Who is this guy?" So he said, "Yeah, you're Liberian." At first, he sounded like a Nigerian when he was talking to someone else. So when we asked for direction up to the rooftop, he said, "Yes, I'm a Liberian, and I know Ben, I know Tomalin. I watched the closing argument. Thank you so much." So he's been a guy. So Liberians are all over the place.
That's good.
How's the birthday going? What's the birthday woman?
Oh, the birthday girl, she's I think she's somewhere in there. There she go. Hey, birthday girl. Ben say hello. Come speak to the closing argument.
Tell the guest you on live. Look at my sister. Happy birthday. I know, yeah. Go enjoy yourself.
Yeah, we're going to Abu Dhabi. And Ben told the girl to spend all the money, so she spent.
I told her, I said, spend all her money. I said, spend all that money there. That new job you get, spend all that money.
Yeah. All right, my brother, but I miss y'all, man. I'll be back.
Yeah,
I'll be
man.
back.
Be safe, man. Enjoy. Have fun. Be safe.
Habibi, enjoy yourself in Dubai.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, bro.
All righty. Yeah, guys. So tell me, I come in to wrap it.
Wrap up, man. But
already
honestly,
told me.
On a serious thing, man. Honestly,
and man, when I wear more, the get your break. That Eddie Jada can't talk about.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I got roll up ring girl.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Look, for me, I tell people, right, just gotta be mindful. That's all. Because let me tell you one from Valley. I won't call the guy where the guy stay around. They said the guy during CDC time, I think. Alien in power. So they said the guy, somebody said it, they were protesting, right? They want to protest. So the guy he had a press conference. He made a people marketing. So when the tanky now, when the police key, when the police said the guy check, he said,
but most are rainbow scale.
Who knew how he got left? We know how he left in that place. Oh, look, you're on the headquarters already. He said, where you chief? He said, oh, Jimmy, how big I am. He got a good up. He's up for tear gas. He's up with battles, that beautiful baton.
I know, right?
So, look. Honestly, I won't challenge nobody that. Honestly, you're trying to get.
Too much, I say again.
Again.
But he also instigated the situation. He went and parked a car in the middle of the road.
So that was my man hit for Jumanjala. I mean, if you want to move his car, then we'll tow your car.
If that
justification
if that was the Unity Party chairman,
Yes.
During CDC administration, Joman Jara will be calling the police people rogues and thugs and all. Joman Jara not defending the police now because you know the party. Now I'm telling you, that's the problem we have in the country. You know,
Juman
for
Jara and
me,
State
like I said,
don't
I would not paint. For me, I'm very clear. I would not paint. Look, I know there's been a lot of reforms when it comes to the police. I would
Yeah.
not paint a broad brush, but there are still some trigger happy elements within the police, and that's one of the things that happened yesterday. The vast majority of our police force they're trying their best under strenuous circumstances and strenuous conditions, but it still doesn't give them the right and the reason to be able to do what happened yesterday. But overall, yesterday I thought the police was very professional. Overall, even the way they handled the whole situation, right? The whole situation. There was even a point where Akaris Gray was at the Temple of Justice, and they told him not to go across. He had a conversation with them. They told him to park a car across outside. He parked a car outside. He came back, and they allowed him to go to the place. You know, so there's some moments where there's some moments where where we should give the police some kudos. But again, like I said, that particular situation, I thought it was totally uncalled for. And this is not about whether you doing it in America or doing it.
But
there are overzealous police officers even in the United States. And the person that put his knee, they gotta put a knee on Joy Floyd's neck. He not getting in trouble. So this is not only unique to Liberia, but even in this country, as people celebrate law enforcement, they also talk about the excesses of law enforcement. It doesn't mean that the entire law enforcement community are doing the wrong thing. No. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to highlight here. But
D.Torgbean, I would never. One thing I would never do, D.Torgbean. I mean, like we all history is a lesson. You know, on a Friday evening, last week I want to do fasting around police station where they will put you in jail on their Monday. You know, and I try to avoid these things. If I'm going out, I had to go outside. If I go out, when I hear noise, I move from there quickly because you're a target, you're an easy target, so you want to avoid.
I tell people in this country,
there are
two group of people I'm afraid of: the IRS and the police. The two groups that I'm afraid of in this country. But I also, again, like I said, I know my rights. I know what my rights are. But it means I owe you go, to do it again. And so for me, I think it was a sad situation. But again, like I said, overall, I thought the police was very professional yesterday. I thought the way they, even the way they carry out their the protective things that they did. Like during the whole, when President Weah got to the what the place name to the Temple of Justice, when Cummings got there was order, and listen, there should be order.
But they stopped the guy from entering and Janga again, which was wrong.
They stopped him from entering where?
Yeah, they stopped him from entering when President Weah then when Janga, they stopped him from entering the court, which was wrong. Like he said, it's my right. You're violating my right. You can't do that to him.
Yeah,
and he said he's not keen on solidarity with my partisan. He's the chairman of the party. I don't think it's right. I mean, you just gotta keep the. I mean, like you said, Ben.
You just gotta
earlier.
Work in progress.
Yes, the thing is that don't forget, government comes and government go. You know what I mean? Be careful. Yeah. Tomorrow you in the ruling party today. And for me, you find yourself.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, Tomalin, we need to graduate. We need to stop seeing the police through the lens of party.
Yes.
Right? Police force will always be the police force. They may change the heads, but those guys in uniform will always be those guys in uniform. So the quicker and the better when we stop seeing the police force in that partisan lens, like that CDC police when CDC in power, that UP police when they're in power. I actually think the police force is probably one entity that probably should have a 10-year position.
Yes, I agree.
And there should be, and with that 10-year position, there should be competitive vetting for whoever the IG of the police should be. Whoever is the most qualified, whoever gets it beyond party reproach and all of that, because you need to be able to build. The police is supposed to protect and serve. You need people to have confidence in the police. And again, like I said, I acknowledge some of the progress and some of the reforms that Gregory has carried out within the police, from a morale standpoint. But yesterday was a low point. And
but these are things that erode his
yesterday was a low point. Yesterday was a low point, especially it was caught on video. And I accept that. And like I said, I respect the fact that they've acknowledged it. And hopefully they reprimand or they do something to that officer or those officers. That whoever get the order, wherever the situation is, we got to be able to start to put things, to start looking at our police, our army. You saw the same thing happen during Ellington when the army went during Ebola and shot what the boy name, Shaki, right? But we didn't paint a broad brush on the entire army. It was one trigger happy soldier, and once you find those trigger happy ones, you weed them out. You punish them. If you can rehabilitate them, they don't do it again, fine. But you weed them out. And that's how we'll be able to get the kind of police that we need and we deserve as a society. But overall, our democracy is in process. Yeah,
in process. But we gotta keep on working on it until we can make it. Like we said, it says in America, it's not a perfect union, right? We are striving. Yeah,
striving to perfect the union. You keep striving to perfect the union. Yeah, and that's what's going to be. But listen, man, it was great conversation. Yes. It's almost midnight here. Yeah. Thank you for dragging me out of my.
Yeah, so Ben, today my baby girl she graduated from high school. I was so happy.
Oh, really? Oh, congratulations to her. Yeah, let me send a shout out to Beverly Pajibo today, her birthday.
Beverly Pajibo birthday? Oh, okay.
Today, Beverly Pajibo birthday. I sent her a message earlier. But congrats to your baby girl.
Yeah.
Graduating from high school.
2 important awards. She got a scholarship all today. I was so happy for her.
Oh,
proud.
Good.
900 students, man. The people, what? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
900 students, and they call each of their name. But again, the greatest country on earth, enjoying themselves, they have fun.
Yeah. No, man, it's a proud moment, especially when your kid graduate from high school. It's such a it's a proud moment. You get a chance to see, especially raising kids in this country.
I'm happy she's going to college. She should live on campus. I'm so happy to hear that.
Oh yeah, so because
she live on campus, that whole experience campus life. Yeah, I'm happy for that. How Benji back from London?
Doing well. Yeah, they came back over the weekend. They're back from London. They went to London and Paris. Wow. They took the train to Paris, and then they're back. He's back. He's here. He's working.
On vacation now?
Yeah, he's back. He's back from campus. Yeah, so he's working for the summer. Looking for his internship. When he goes back, he'll be a junior.
Wow.
He'll be a junior. Yeah. It's been.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. So
wow. When you look
at graduate, because it's so freaking expensive, but
my sister Gwen said she can retire. Gwen said she tired being a nurse in America. She can retire.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Oh, Gwen retire. Yeah, don't go early. Don't do early retirement, Gwen. Reach the age, retirement age. Don't go there. But Gwen also said she should become retired to go like bro now.
Oh, Gwen said she going?
Yeah, Gwen said she can retire.
Yeah, go. Richard say I'm gonna go MIA on your again. Richard, I'm trying to stay away from your Liberia politics. I'm literally that's something you can be dragging me. I just
it's frustrating, man. The people are frustrating.
I just sometimes it's just good to take a breather,
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing on my personal growth, my personal advancement, professional. Contrary to what people think, I do have a life. I do live. I do earn a living. I have multiple streams of income that I manage. But I've just been trying to, take some personal time and personal growth. I should be going to Liberia in the next couple of weeks. I know that. I have to go to Ghana and then I go to Liberia. And potentially
they invited us to Belgium, so we gotta think about it, Ben.
Yeah, we can see. I'll see. Maybe if you're going, I will see if I can squeeze myself. What time is it? Just send me the dates. Let me see if I can.
It's in July, late July for the tournament.
Yeah. Okay. So I will see if I can run there. We can run there together. Brussels is not. We got my boy T-Spin in Brussels at the embassy. He would take good care of us.
Who the ambassador there?
What her name? Levi Demme. Levi Demme is a friend. Yeah,
I think I know that guy
he's a big superintendent of Basel.
I think Levi. I'm sure we're in class at 10th grade, 85. I'm very sure. Very sure.
Yeah, so Levi is there.
Where's that guy, Ben? Your friend, he was in Europe. At the hotel in my bro. He was one of the ambassadors. What's his name, man?
T-Spin, not him. Sanvee.
The guy with the okay. Oh, he's in Belgium still?
He's in Brussels, yeah.
Okay.
He's a beat out with Isaac Nimbo.
Okay, yes.
He's now minister counselor.
So the ambassador in Belgium is in charge of the
Brussels, the BRICS, whatever they call them, the EU too. Yeah.
Okay.
He also shares that portfolio. Yeah. So Richard, that's all, man. I just, it's nothing personal. I just try to stay away. If you even notice my Facebook page, I hardly post. Maybe it's that's only really catch my heart. You will see me posting because I think our politics has a way of taking a toll. Someone asked me the other day about Chihuahua. Chihuahua is a mess. He says stay away, balance indigenous and self-defense job. Yeah. Great. Chihuahua is a mess. No, but I'm serious. Someone asked me, they say, Ben, we don't see you posting even your family on Facebook. With growth, when you grow, Tomalin, you get a chance to, I'm very protective when it comes to my family. So, and I remember during the election, a couple of times people try to post pictures of my, and I try to, try to create that buffer. Right. But listen, you can go after me or you want to go after me. You can attack me. I sign up for it. I'm a public person. But stay away from my family.
That's but again, our kids now they coming. My daughter coming 10, 18, so they'll all be coming on Facebook. So now I would now
exactly.
I would take a back step because as she turn 18 next month, she won't be on Facebook and we all be on Facebook. Daddy, they cussing you too much, Daddy. They're cussing you up. I want to my one. I was like, just don't be my friend on Facebook because they will see a lot of stuff when they cussing me. You won't believe it, Yeah. So, but
I look forward to it. I will do my best to come on as much as I can. Maybe these late night things is a little more, relax and chill. Away from the and the guys and the other guys are doing a heck of a job with the.
Once they finish the Gimman to Nangbe and all the guys, man. Yeah, doing a great job to keep it going. Closing argument to keep it going. We there.
Yeah.
We got 2026, 27. We still got 5 to go.
I'm telling you, a friend of mine, somebody close to the president in the government, he called me. He said, "My man, you too quiet. We nervous." I said, "What do you mean you're nervous?" He said, "No, apparently you're planning something." I said, "Please, man." He said, "Ben, you too quiet." He said, "You too quiet. Not you, but now you're supposed to be hitting us. You supposed to be." I'm like, "Listen, man. Elections have consequences." Like I always.
But you see, the conversation we have on Sunday morning. What I learned from that conversation. It's time to wait. Wait till 2027 before you start coming up. Man, what happened to your boy Baron? Baron, okay?
Oh, Baron doing well. Baron's gonna be okay. Baron's still with it. He's still in cover office.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's still in the representative office. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you so much. My wife is beautiful. Yeah, yeah. All right, guys, but it's look, I'm sorry, I don't like it. People, I swear to God. Oh God. I mean, it almost
if you're a fan is more.
More than yeah. More probably watching. You would probably do it. But what I noticed, Dominic, I feel like in this space, right, in the social media space, it's almost like we're property of the people, right?
Oh yeah.
Like they literally feel like they feel some ownership to us. They're like, "Why you want to come on the show, Ben? Man, try and come in, So but it's humbling though. I must admit, it is humbling when. like what Robert is saying, right? When you get a chance to meet people that you don't know, that you've never seen, and they tell you, well, you know, we like your analysis, or we don't agree with you, but we respect your opinion. For me, I get that all the time. And I think it goes way back from Spoon to, you know, when I was in politics and all of that.
Gwen, she's hilarious. What she said?
Yeah. But it's fascinating. We're gonna keep the conversation going. Liberia is the only country we have. We look forward to having more constructive. Tomalin, thank you for dragging me. I thought it was a great conversation.
Yeah, Ben, always a good man. Always good, guys. Have a good night, people. We enjoy you guys. Gotta go.
Thank you.